All right, we are live to If They Won't Listen, first episode of my podcast with my co-hosts, Topher and Dante. Um, you guys want to? Uh, yeah. So I introduced you, so I'm not going to ask you to introduce yourselves. But
Well, you went Topher first, so I figured he was gonna go first. But I guess I'll go first. I'm Dante. I started out as the audio guy, but now I'm a part of this because I had sort of an interest in what we were gonna talk about, and I'm a nerd, so maybe I have some insight on some of the shit we're gonna be talking about. What about you, Topher?
Well, I'm Ricky and I have been friends for a while, and we've done a lot of just this. Spent long hours together while we were working, just talking about anything and nothing, and said more than once we should probably record this.
yeah.
Well, here we go. We're recording it now.
Well, I think for the viewers and also for myself, just because I haven't seen this angle before, um, what's up with the weird murder paraphernalia behind you?
Oh, I'm a horror fanatic. I Most of what I listen to anymore is horrorcore. I love horror movies. Any type.
But you also love to play Tetris, the board game.
I've played it. I have, yeah. I'm a kid at heart. I've got kids, and I remember since when I was a kid, that was the big thing we used to do as family was play board games with anytime we got together. So kind of passed it down, and I've got a little bit of that. I'm also a gamer. I sit on the PlayStation probably more than I should, but
I'm the same way.
Awesome. And so my name is Richard. Totally just heard my daughter scream. Working on soundproofing. I have a 2-year-old.
oh, I
So
thought that was a dragon.
it's a demon I go by. Dragons are cool demons. Demons haunt me at night, and that's her. She's a blessing, but goddamn,
Some days.
it's give and take. So I had it muted while you guys were talking to avoid some of the screams here, and I'll try to keep that courtesy up until I can afford some soundproofing. But in the meantime, the name of the show I think we all landed on was If They Won't Listen, and all of us have a fair amount to say about whatever, and so we're gonna try to keep this consistent with some funny jokes and some real material, and we're gonna see where it goes. And this is the first time we've been recording, so there's nothing you can listen to before this to try to be like, oh, I want to learn more. So we don't exist until right now. Like, but now we exist. We didn't before. Boom.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
Planning this for a long time. We're doing it.
So when you said that he needs to talk about what's in his background, we can talk about what's in mine for a second. But you were like the
You
murderous
felt
things,
left out.
and you were like the murderous things, and I wasn't looking at the masks. I was looking at Life and Clue and Jumanji, and I was like, murderous things. Clue? I mean, yeah, someone
Oh yeah.
died, but
Yeah. Clue is that's a murder
yeah. So
murder
that's
type
that's where I
board
went,
game.
and then I looked at the mask, and I was like, oh, okay, okay. Um, I had planned to have some sort of backing prior to now, but I guess what people get to see is my floor-to-ceiling cat tower, a beautiful fly tape, and a shelf I installed on my wall. So
We've got the
And
important
you just
stuff.
yeah, of
froze.
You
course.
know.
Yeah, you guys hit a little spike too. We're gonna work out the kinks, people. That's why this is the pilot show. You don't want to listen to it. You can fuck off.
Yeah, the audio is gonna be great. Audio is gonna be fantastic.
That's
This
what
is
we're
raw.
hoping
This is
for.
how underground starts.
This is how underground starts.
Look at Ricky's arm. Look at his right arm, real quick.
What about my right arm? I don't even know. Do you mean my right or your right? Because I see myself opposite.
Your right arm.
This is
From
my.
your perspective, yes.
It's colorful.
Yeah, it's changing colors constantly.
Yes.
Oh, it's his
I,
computer.
It's those RGBs, man.
it's not even RGB. See, I updated to the chameleon bicep. They had it at your local prosthetic shop, and
Oh,
That's that's pretty damn cool.
it's
gross.
nice.
I
Yeah.
take one of those.
But the first aspect of me starting a podcast was being able to actually have a computer to work on with it. So built myself a nasty PC. Dante is on opposite end of that spectrum. I'm Windows, and he's the other guy. The other guy in the mall.
Listen, I'm the guy that has a computer that just works. It just works. If I want to do something, it does it.
Just, my computer does everything too, except I was able to like easily build it because my companies believe in being able to sell their CPUs. Yours is like, nah. If we give that away, then they're gonna get in our panties. Mine's like, dude, I'll give you everything I got. Have fun, and so that's the difference here.
Uh-huh.
Just
You
saying.
realize a low-level Mac costs about what yours cost, right?
Yeah, but my specs eat his. Like for what I
Yeah.
do, like we do different things. We've established this.
My computer's
That's what it is.
from 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right, of course your computer's gonna kick mine's ass.
Well, we've established this. He needs his for different things than what I need mine for. And I didn't know anything about building a PC when I was building one prior to learning. So I built one for nasty gaming and
Nasty gaming.
nasty processing of like these sort of files. This is the first stage of my business endeavor, if we're going to call it that. There'll be things coming out over the next few years. I'm not dropping spoilers, but this is a great way for us
things
to.
going on.
Yeah, this is a way for us to plug our stuff, and as a viewer listening to this, the thing I hope to give to you as a creator and a co-host, co-host. How would I say that in a sentence?
Oh, just co-host.
Okay,
Yeah. I mean, co-host would be fine, I guess.
yeah, I think vaguely that covers it, but there's totally got to be a word that means three. A co-host of a three-host show. I don't know. Co-host is like cooperative double, and there's three of us, so we can skip the semantics. But
Maybe you should just coin a word for it.
Coin a word for it. Yeah. No, I was gonna be sexual. Can't do it.
Oh.
Can't do it.
What about you're the hostest with the mostest?
I've totally heard that before. Hostess with the mostest.
Yeah, how about that one? Because
No.
it was your idea. It was your idea for the show in the first place. So you're the one that has the mostest.
Okay, now I see what you're saying. When you said hostess, I was like at a restaurant. Like you gonna see me?
I put a T at the end. Hostess.
Hostess.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So
Yes.
he's the most hostly of the hosts.
Right. That's
The
what
hostiest.
Okay. But yeah, so we're gonna discuss an array of things, and I think the perfect world here is that Dante likes working on like music and editing and computer type stuff, and so if he finds someone on YouTube that he would like to have on the show, then we reach out and they hop on, and now we've created a platform for us all to talk to people who do stuff like this online for each other. And Chris, the same thing. I remember at a time he was playing Fallout 76 like the game was going to disappear tomorrow. So if he wants to talk to maybe one of the game developers or someone who had a hand in it, I don't think that'd be unachievable.
Can I just put something in here real quick? I don't want to get too off topic. I know you want to finish what you're saying about the summary of the show, but Fallout 76, really? Like that's. Oh God! Can we not have anyone that works on that game on this show?
So what? And I'm all about you know what I mean. Opposite opinions. Like without that, there'd be no point in talking. Like if you both agreed with me every time, I wouldn't want you on the show. Like me and Chris have had like more nuclear conversations that we both ended.
Right.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Like we have had a lot of nuclear conversations, and we're still buddies. So I'm not worried about it. But the opposite of opinion is the point of a show. Like there's X amount of billion people in the world, most of which, the majority of which we won't meet, see, or care about. It's like gorillas. If gorillas have already disappeared, we don't know. You don't know. I don't know. So if they're gone, did it matter? And yet we got like X amount of people saying it does. I don't know. Just saying. If you don't see it, doesn't exist. That's how it works. Like I've never seen the president in person, so maybe, just maybe, they don't exist. You know what I'm saying? I don't watch the news. I don't hear nothing, so maybe nothing's going on. Like I see sheetrock, and That's going on.
That's I mean, listen, if that's you and you're happy and you like that sheetrock, then you sit there, you stare at that goddamn sheetrock all day. You be the best you could be.
Oh God. No, I don't care for anything else. Like we have some co-workers now. I worked with Chris for almost 2 years straight, and to not dox him and be like, oh, this is where he works. Hit him up, send him an email, postcard. You know what I mean? He likes colorful stickers. Um, the job we did, nonetheless, of the work changed every day. You either worked ridiculously hard all day with no breaks and no prior planning, or you did nothing for the entire fucking day and got paid. And it was based on circumstance. So let's say you're a roofer and you're paid by the day and it rains, but you still get paid. And you have to still stay there to get paid. That's basically our job. So no matter what we did, there was circumstances surrounding what we did and who we worked with and the client and their job and yada yada. But the circumstance of it all was just ridiculous. Like I would kiss my other half goodbye. Mwah, I don't know what I'm doing. Peace. Don't know who I'm meeting. When they don't show up, I'm gonna call my boss and be like, "Yo, they ain't here." Really? Yeah, it's weird. Eating a sandwich in one hand, muting them to chew it, and I'm like, I don't care if they're here. I'm paid, you know. But also, very deadly. Almost killed by many people.
Yeah.
I don't think it's doxing it to say it's there's a lot of jobs related to cars, and some people aren't good drivers.
A lot of
So
people aren't good drivers.
Look at the
yes,
look on his face when he says that. He's just like, oh.
no, dude, I made some bad decisions. I'm almost not standing here today because I was like, yeah, my job, and I got to keep people safe, and you know what I mean. I got to make sure everyone's aware. It's so
Got
many
a hero
variables.
over here.
Oh fuck you, man! Like I just believe that when a job is done, whether it be, if we're going to create a scale or a timeline here, step one being like dishwasher or like leaf raker, hashtag landscaper, or janitorial engineer, facilitation expert of trash. We could get some
I
places
think
with
it's a
vernaculars here.
custodial engineer.
I knew it was something that didn't sound so terrible.
Yeah.
But whether you're at that side of a scale, or whether you're, working on DOS, building code, it's like that. There's an entry level, nothing. Then you learn the medium stuff of the topic, and then you learn the hard things, and then you can conceive some of the things by understanding the whole picture, and then you realize by getting to the end that that the beginning of it was as important as the end. And so every job you do, whether it be dishwasher or guy who designs Call of Duty games, you do 100% either way. And like that's a big gap I see in every work field. I was an electrician apprentice, a carpenter apprentice. I built pools for 3 years. Love restaurants currently, still working one now. And it's totally by choice. Like there's three other jobs right now, not talking about the podcast, that I've thought about going to, but like I just really like working in the kitchen. Like that's it. I don't care whether I'm doing measly dishes or whether I'm expediting on the line or working garbage. Like I don't care. It's fun. Like that's just I enjoy the atmosphere. It's hot as balls. I was so hot last night. I was contemplating like you know what I mean. Where's the nearest cliff, man? I swear
Man,
to God.
I was glad I got out of there. I don't think it's considered doxing either to say that I work at the same place you do.
No, I don't think so.
So yeah,
And
yeah,
so we're all coworkers. Like that's the you know what I mean.
yeah.
Me to Chris, Chris to I, Dante to me, and back and forth. But yeah. So if everything goes well with this recording, we're gonna have a guest next week, provided he shows up. So I'm not gonna allude to who he is yet, and in case he doesn't show up. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And
I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be
yeah.
really interesting. Keep us on a certain track, on a certain topic, and for me to meet someone new. Because obviously I don't know this guy, but from what you told me, he sounds interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I met him through a video game, as with anything. So Well, but he's a very intelligent person. You know, he went to college and he's training and learning about tons of stuff. I myself have not gone to any college. I would still argue I'm smarter than most. He
Oh
said,
shit.
not at all arrogantly. No, but I want to talk about things like thought and IQ and philosophy and metaphysics and all the stuff that maybe you need to be some douchebag at Harvard to understand, but at the same time, my 10 cents or 2 cents, whatever we're gonna call the phrase, is that like all three of us have our own reality. You know what I mean? All three of us have our own thoughts, and no matter how much you tell me you are whatever, I can't prove that. I'm not going to try to create a dystopian paradigm where like you think every person is insane because you can't know what they truly think outside of what they say, but words are invaluable to communicate, and they're also like just not useful. Like that, our brain is so complex to try to compress our brain's image like into a file and then speak it and then receive it into your brain and then you lay it down with all your pre-layered and wired shit without any framework of what I see conceptually. There's so much lost in translation, it's retarded. Like if we're both watching the same movie and I'm like it's good and you're like it's good and someone's like it's bad, we could sit here all week. We could all like and dislike it based on like the colors that our eyes depict of the movie, and that's genetic, and you can't really augment that. Like Chris, if you have glasses on, so you've augmented and mitigated how bad your eyes were with technology. Boom. I didn't want to listen to you guys through a speaker. Technology, I have an earphone. But like, if you just can't see, like, you know what I mean? I love my old lady, but she's blind as a bat without her glasses. So it's like that's
Yeah, mine too.
it's unfortunate, but like come to a realistic situation. If you don't have those fancy wire glass straps behind your head, like that's fickle. That's dangerous. Like I'm exceedingly grateful. I have all my limbs and senses and stuff, but I think there's a lot people, you know, take for granted. You know, like what do you think's the thing you take most for granted, Dante? With
I mean, I think it's probably. I mean, it's such a loaded question. I mean, I try to I
yeah.
try to count my blessings, but it's. I think the thing that I take for granted the most right now is how much time I have relative to how much of it I'm using to be productive.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I have more time than most people, and I don't think about that too often. Too often, I'm always thinking, oh, I'm tired, oh, I'm busy, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. In reality, I'm lucky that, like, for example, right now I'm not having to pay rent. That's a huge thing. Like, I don't have to worry about that. Um, so that in and of itself is one big one that I think, after living in New York City for 5 years, you would think that I wouldn't take that for granted, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I forget about, how tough it really is out there. And so that's probably one of them. That's probably one of them.
No, I think that's solid. What about you, Chris?
Good question. I don't have a good answer for you. I I'm sure there's things I take for granted, but I made a conscious effort to not take anything for granted a long time ago.
What
Because
about the fact that you have two different versions of Life, the board game? Do you ever take that for
He
granted?
does.
um,
Because you've got a Star
that's
Wars
it.
one.
Oh, you're right. I also have one, two, three, four, five, six versions of Monopoly sitting up there.
Oh, that's too much Monopoly.
That's a lot, man.
Um,
You
that's
can
a lot
you
of
ever mix and
Monopoly.
match?
No, they're
Get like
Taboo.
an
No.
Anakin Skywalker in there with like Bart Simpson or something.
I could almost do that. I have the different ones have different rules. They're just kind of cool. They actually started mixing it up like that. Uh, like the Stranger Things one has extra rules, something about landing on or getting a 7.
I've never
So
seen Stranger Things.
I
You
haven't either.
haven't?
Can like
Uh,
that? Those kids were like critically acclaimed, and I've seen clips of it. Like they were pretty abrasive, right? Like that's some real raw adult
it's
material
a good
for
show.
kids.
Yeah, it is. It's
Well, I'm
based back in the 80s.
but like that's totally like a 6 or a 7 or a 9 or a 10 year old like actually doing things out of his age frame, right?
I think they're probably older than that, but maybe not.
Really? I don't know. They look they're at the point where I'd say boys, not men, and so
Well,
like
definitely not men.
They're definitely
They're
boys.
children. I just don't know that. I don't remember that were like 8 or 9, but I haven't
fair
watched
enough.
it
Well,
in a
I definitely don't
while.
know the number. I haven't
You,
seen
you
it,
know
but
what's cool about
it
that
was huge
show
for a while.
that I know? The only thing I know about it is for the soundtrack. Rather than doing like what I do when I want to get like classic 80s sounds, I'll use like a virtual version of, an instrument that they, like Van Halen would use, for
Hmm.
one of their songs or one of their albums. But what they did was they actually went and there's this synthesizer called the Jupiter 8, which is just legendary. They're, minimum $13,000 used right now from the 80s. And they went out and they found like a pristine one, like perfect condition, like hadn't aged at all. Took that thing and actually used it to make the soundtrack as if the show was actually made in the 80s,
Nice.
which I
Wow.
think is really really cool to go to that level to preserve the original qualities of the instruments that they had at the time and what was popular at that time, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with that. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot. Like I seeing all these electronic cars nowadays. I really appreciate having vintage tools that still turn around. Like I have my grandfather's tools in my trunk right now. And if something breaks, like the other day, I was driving down the street in my Subaru, and yeah, I just plugged Subaru. Not a sponsor, but on the way.
Just
Um,
Subaru. This podcast sponsored by fucking Subaru for some reason.
I Yeah, I'll get there. But no, literally my caliper locked up and just rah 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 rah. Daughter in the back, girl with me. I was like, all right, friggin'. Sure. And now my trunk latch doesn't work, so I gotta kill the car. E-brake, get in the trunk, grab my hammer. What's this tire? Whack 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 whack. Wum wum. Not stuck now.
There you go.
Like I love having the know-how to know that, and my dad taught me that. There was one time we had a caliper lock up on us on the way to my cousin Richie's house. Same name. Both the third. Also, I'm the third. Same middle and first and last name as my dad and grandfather. He was the exact same. Also the third. Also a Richard. Hilarious. When we were gaming as like 15-year-olds, I was like, I'm Richie, and he's Richie, and we're cousins, and we're both the third, and we're both gonna kick your ass. And it was just really
Were your
funny.
Xbox Live gamer tags both Richie the Third?
No, no, but there was an intro every time you walked in the lobby.
No.
It was like we only played trios, and every time you came in, we were like da da, and then he was like da 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 da, and then we were like backing off each other. It was some funny shit, man. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but I think that's wicked funny with time too. Like I could straight up sit here and tell you guys millions of memories nonstop. Hence the point of a podcast, and I'm sure you could. But it's like if you don't talk about them, they disappear. And on an even more fucked up note, I definitely want to talk about the way memory works. I feel like that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. And so, like, when you're remembering something, and you're not remembering what happened saved in your head, and you get to just read it. When you're remembering something, there's an I was gonna say ability, but it's not something you chose. There's an inherent risk to change and alter your memory based on remembering it. So, like, let's say you think back to your favorite car you saw in a parking lot 10 years ago. You can remember the car. You can remember the size based on the parking spot, because that's a generic thing you could click to your head, or the way the sun hit the hood and the gleam looked. But at the end of the day, if 10, 20, 30 years pass, that car might have been red, blue, green, yellow, and like that's not the priority information that mattered that you saved. Hairless cat, own 2.
Look at the
Yeah.
color on that thing.
Look at the color on that thing changing, bro.
Well, with the memory thing, what's interesting with that is obviously, I'm not prepared with studies to talk about this because it just comes up in conversation. But I think it's really it's pretty crazy how memory can be sort of like implanted afterwards. They've done the studies where, they'll say, you'll have a memory of something, and then if enough people tell you, no, it was actually this way. It was actually this way. This is what actually happened. Eventually, you can get people to start to believe that because their memories is just by nature so hazy in the first place.
Yeah, for sure. Chris knows all about the power of suggestion. We've talked about it before.
Little
You know what I
bit.
mean? Anything you want to add to the power of suggestion, Mr. Christopher? As I suggest you to suggest about the power of suggestion?
Oh, you don't want me to suggest about the power of suggestion? That's just way too suggestive.
Oh, jeez.
That was awful. That was just a terrible.
Thank you.
Terrible.
I'll be here
Thanks.
all week, or at least until the
hey,
meeting
man.
ends.
Yeah, yeah, for the time we're gonna run the first show to figure things out, like 5 more minutes, we'll be chill. In the future, to anyone who is listening to this and actually caring about future shows, we would like to be able to put out an hour a week consistently, and there may be a secondary show that's for paid subscribers, and there also may be an extended version of this show where we go from 1 to 2 to 3 to, I don't think I'll ever pass 4 hours, but if I do, I was gonna do a Dos Equis thing, but didn't feel it.
Wouldn't have worked.
When I do,
Plus we, well,
yeah, I thought the same thing. I was about to dox the shit out of myself. I was like, check this out, guys. So if you're not aware, Chris, we keep saying dox. We just mean like you know what I mean, drop someone else's
Not
information.
plug in
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we can plug advertisements, but like I don't want to be like, oh, this is his street address. It's you know. Yeah, I've heard about like some famous people, their address getting leaked and them just getting packages. Dude, think how sketch that would be. Like, I'm not saying that, like, it would be the worst thing in the world, because let's pretend USPS is trustworthy. But, like, dude, I've had buddies get packages in the mail with all Chinese writing. No American.
well, it's like all those people that are getting like beans. Aren't there people getting like beans from China right now?
No. I've heard about that, yeah. Like, the people are just getting sent seeds, and I've already heard, like, one or two conspiracy theorists.
Because my dad told me they were
Aren't beans, by definition,
guess,
seeds?
Yeah, but the way my dad phrased it to me was like, "Did you hear these people are getting these packages of beans from China?" I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking?"
Yeah, I heard the conspiracy theory that they're sending over, and now I heard the vernacular of seeds, but not that it matters. I heard they're sending over seeds to and I was gonna use the word poison, but let's not scare them. We don't need another Hiroshima. We don't want them to get testy now. But Jesus, no, like, you know what I mean? The fact that like you could think that. And maybe they are. Like, maybe I'm the minority who's, like, thinking this is crazy. But, like, to send seeds to a different country with altered genetics or something, like, to fuck up who we are, like, all you need is one, like, important person to get them, test them, and prove that they came from another. Like, to me, that's, like, global warfare type level
No, that's
shit.
total
You don't
biological warfare level.
You don't poke a bear, and I don't even mean the act of sending seeds is warfare. I mean the implication post proving they sent seeds. It would be warfare. Like, I don't think Mr. Orange Hair is going to be like, oh, you're going to send poisonous seeds to my country, huh? And I know he doesn't speak with that accent,
Great
but
Donald Trump right there.
I'm terrible at Donald Trump. That's why I went with that. Whatever that was. Slackjaw Jimmy.
Well, not far
Can
off.
that be a regular character on this show, Slackjaw Jimmy?
I'm working with the accents, man. I really think I'm gonna spend a few hours on YouTube and get working with it. Now I'm from the East Coast, Boston. I can't really hide that accent. You know what I mean? I park my car, but and dude, my daughter even says it. It's hilarious. She says "car" and "ear."
Oh God.
It's wicked cute. It's adorable. Born out of Boston, by the way. This is pure genetic predisposition to being able to speak like her parent. I got in an argument with someone actually about that. I was referring to your neurological traits as genetics were. Like my dad, had whatever, and I have X% of whatever due to being his lineage. And he argued, the person who I'm going to leave in the dark here, they argued and said, no, genetics are like, they don't work like that. And it's like, well, I feel like you're kind of pinholing it because, like, you are genetically predisposed for cancer and diabetes and heart disease and all those things in a medical sense. But we can't really prove what's happening up here with the synapses. Imagine like the coalescence and connection or joining of who you are with your parent is tighter than you'd believe. Like I can feel the personalities, and like I correlate thoughts in my head to personalities. I gotta say that before I say this, but like I can feel the parts of me that are my dad. Like I can. It's just genetic. I have like this ability to be the happiest guy ever. But if you piss me off, and this is not like a threat, but like literally, if you piss me off, and I don't mean you, I mean generalized, like you breach that limit in my brain, and I can just unleash X amount of years of trauma on you, like a fucking spastic, like you know what I mean? And it's like it's the opposite, but the same way I feel when I rap. Like I get this pit in my stomach that is just unbreakable, and the euphoria created from it. I'm singing to my steering wheel, like Nickelback said. You know what I mean? I used to want to sing to more in the steering wheel, or something like that. But like I screamed to my steering wheel, man, to the point where like no one would want to listen to me. But the way I feel is uncomparable. And like in a fight, that's the same way. I hope I never have to fight, raise a gun in a negative way or a knife or any weapon ever. I want to be a pacifist until the day I die. Hopefully not tomorrow. But if that's not available, I'm like last night, Bree called me on the way home and was like, "Hey, there's someone out front trying to steal a bike." The fuck do you mean steal a bike? She's like, "Yeah, we all heard a bang and all the neighbors came outside and there was a dude sitting on a lamppost." And like that was verbatim what she said, and I was like, okay, downshift, third, whoop, fucking, you know what I mean? And I'm like, what in the fuck? I can't, like, I can get home 5 minutes earlier, but I can't, I can't skip miles. I wish I could just push a button and go to bird's eye view and,
See the guy
you
sitting
know?
on the lamppost looking at that bike.
Yeah, and she kept saying bike, so I'm thinking, like, dude's trying to steal a motorcycle. He's gonna come back for mine. I'm gonna get a wrench out of my trunk, get some stuff done. And no, he was trying to steal a bicycle, and I guess he was all fucked up. And no one was there when I got home. But when I got home, the entire across the street of where I was, and the entire yard on the side of the street where I lived, was just full of people. Like there was probably 30 people between my side of the street and the other side of the street. So they were clearly on top of it, and I didn't get no wrenches. But interesting way to come home. I was ready to be like, yeah, and I'm running through the situations in my head. You know what I mean? Like, oh. I'm gonna say to him like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" Or like I'll roll my window down a little bit, and be like, "Hey man, get out of here," And like I was running through the things I'm gonna do. Like, so how many times does he have to hit me before I stab him and not go to jail? One, two. If I run him back towards the gas station and get him on camera hurting me, then I can beat the brakes off him. That's how it works. So what if I give him a weapon and then I beat the brakes off him without one? I think I'm in the clear then. I like that one.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he comes at me and, oh, I dropped it. I just dropped a pen on my cat, and I didn't want to do that, but it was very light. Okay. But you know what I mean? Just drop it. And then they pick it up. Now I have the rights. I will give you a weapon so I don't feel as bad when I beat you. You know what I mean? Like I don't like fighting because I liked sparring in karate because we all like went light enough that none of us walked away with permanent injuries. But I also didn't like it because I don't like mitigated fighting. Like I don't want to have to, you know what I mean, be conscientious of your from the amount of pain you receive. Like I said, I don't intend to deal any, but if you're going to infringe upon my existence and how long I'm allowed to live, like say attacking me, um, I'm just going to break your knee and ankle and walk away. Like I don't want a long thing. I don't want to draw it out. I don't want to beat you on the ground. I don't want any blood on me. I don't want your spit on me. So I'm going to diffuse you as fast as possible and get out of there. And sometimes that's just running.
Right.
Like I've straight up. I mean, I know I have pink hair, but I think I've already brought up I have a daughter. So maybe you're alluding I'm not gay. But I've got out of fights and like when I was 17 by just acting gay. Oh my god! Like you've got some big muscles, and like, dude, who the fuck's gonna fight? You know what I mean? I
It's
just
like
almost
that
called
old
myself.
meme, where it's like all you gotta do is just drop your pants, and then you're in an alleyway, someone's got a knife to you. If you pull your schlong out, most people are just gonna be like, "Whoa, let's not go that
Yeah, I
let's
mean,
not go that far."
probably.
You
But if
know,
someone had a knife, I don't know if I'd be bringing
We
my
live in
penis
such a
closer to
different
them.
world today.
Like, we have some disparaging age
Yeah,
gaps
I'm like
here,
20.
but
I got 20 years on both of you. So back when I was a
so
kid,
if I
if
die
somebody
today,
did that,
you're
they
plus
would
20.
definitely get the bricks beat off of them. You'd have gotten fucked
I'm
up.
sure. Oh, I'm sure, 100%. Based on the stories my dad said growing up, like what the 70s and 80s were like, I
Homophobia
believe you.
was a real thing. I mean, you talk about it now, but for the most part, everybody's been desensitized and they can go, oh, I don't like gays or whatever, but, there's no real homophobia. Back in the 80s, everybody was scared of it. It was a new thing. And then AIDS happened, and they were like, "Oh, people are spreading it with the faggots are causing AIDS, and they're spreading it around." Like, no, 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 no. Number one, a faggot is a bundle of sticks. Okay. Number two, more heterosexuals and IV drug users were spreading it than anything else.
I'm with you, and we gotta plug this before we get booted off here. Still in the trial phases, people. But yeah, no. On that same topic, before we say adios and I click stop. Yeah, so I found out last night that straight up, like less than 10 years ago, gay people weren't allowed to give
Nope.
blood.
Yep.
are they able to
Like
now?
literally, if you were I googled it last night, and there's an LGBTQ page on the American Red Cross site, and there's a whole article. You have to jump through hoops to give blood if you're anything but heterosexual, which for blood and disease and
Absolutely.
infections I get, but at the same time, just because you want to fuck someone else is
Yeah.
that does not correlate to anything. Do your screening to make sure they don't have diseases. If someone's more likely to have a disease, go for it, but don't discriminate against them because they like a different hole to slide
Yeah.
their thing into.
No.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
bullshit. Straight up.
fuck off.
And at the end of the day,
But
if you get a close up enough image of that hole, you might not even know, what gender it is. So really, we're all the same.
we're all the same. I think that's a good note to end the show on the first episode. And for anyone who enjoyed this, thank you for listening. And we're hoping the one next week will be a little bit longer and not inhibited by apps that we're still learning how to use. So thank you. You guys got any post things you want to say before
I
I
think
cut?
this has been cool. I like doing this. Hopefully, people find it interesting, or at the very least, funny. It's something to put on in the background while they're doing some sort of shit. I think
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I think we kept a good, steady conversation going. So excited to get this rolling.
Oh yeah. As am I. You
Yeah.
happy with the result, Chris?
Well, I just do want to say one thing on the heels of what you said. Hope people like it, absolutely. But very honestly, I'm thinking in terms of, like Howard Stern. Uh, you know, this many people are watching and listening every day, and they love him just because they want to see what he's going to do next. And these hate him,
Yeah.
but they're still tuning in, they're watching and listening every day. Why? To see what he's going to do next. Any publicity is good publicity.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you
I
like
was
us
gonna
and
say the
want to come
same
back,
thing.
awesome. If you don't like us and you still come back, okay, I'll take the view.
Yeah, no, I will happily, accept your Patreon pledge to listen to you tell me how
Oh,
much I'm
hell
an
yeah.
asshole. Please, please, pay. I would love it. We could put like 10 of you against me. I'll give you each a turn, and then I'll, you know what I mean, eviscerate all of
I
you
get called an
verbally.
asshole all
So we can
day,
do it.
every day, and worse. You're gonna pay me for it now? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, I kind of get paid for it
Sold.
every day anyway.
Alrighty.